Smári. I was going to do a concert tonight from my bed, but I couldn't really manage to get the output into my phone working. I had this TRS adapter that should be able to drive audio into the phone as if it's a microphone, but I don't know. And then I tried multiple other ways of putting the audio in, but I think I will just try to have this figured out for next week and just wait for the concert then. But tonight I wanted to just do a reading of a publication I made last autumn for a project I made at Oudekerk in Amsterdam. The book and the project is called This Clock Before It Existed, in which I rotated a 300-year-old clock back in time until before it existed, having it tell time before it was made. So the publication is written over the course of the 2.5-month process. And it is arranged in newest first order, like a block, and it consists of 5 editions of the same 7 chapters and 4 drawings that mutate and adapt over time, forming a narrative. In both the text and its form, I explore how ideas and narratives gradually mutate and manifest. I should have just said this. I don't know why I was trying to read this. But so I just want to lie in bed and kind of read from this publication, and hopefully it will be a comfortable thing to listen to before going to sleep or something. It starts with a drawing. Wednesday, 1st November 1724. Old, cold gold, long sticks with sharp pointed heads. A set of small golden wings stretched out from the middle of each shaft, and thin fletching plucked from those same wings, tied tight to their base. They always hit their mark and always returned back to the bow. Gusisnautar, the 3 golden arrows of time, seconds, minutes, and hours zoom continuously through the air, each at their own pace. Hour represents the past and moves slowly, sluggishly striking its target with predictable and almost dull inevitability. Minute represents the present and moves swiftly, a near miss whizzing by before hitting its target from behind. Second represents the future and moves inconceivably fast, almost just a sound. A constant droning whistle through the air. It strikes without your knowing, only a pink mist and a pinhole slit, You pat yourself as if looking through the contents of your pockets, only to find yourself falling to the ground. Someone above acting a fool, a rock the size of a 5,000-point period hurtles down at 120 kilometers per hour, hitting and splitting open the skull of a young hiker. A single decisive thump, like a few kilos of unbaked clay thrown to the floor, rings out as the body slams to the ground, and the inside of their cranium pour out onto the surface below. From the goose-splattered pool of brain, an idea sticks out like an arrow shot into the ground. Ripples in the puddle of blood marking its target. Bullseye, the point it was always going to hit. As far as ideas go, this one was juicy, fully formed, executable, and simple. It was in fact so defined that if someone happened upon the corpse, they could have picked up the idea and implemented it without any perceivable variable to its initial form and without any suspicion to their claim to its conception. When does it happen? Is it happening now? A parallel process to inaction, simmering on the side until it boils over and boom, there you have it. As ideas strike, they present the possibility of change, a small killing or sacrifice of the self that existed before it, a fork in the road where the two diverge, the one who pressed on and the one who strayed. Ideas are like some kind of complicated dessert or canopy, something in which a series of conditions, ingredients or qualities, tastes, temperatures, textures, size and shape, etc., come together to make a singular thing that is only by its own logic complete and whose unappealing appearance only makes sense once you taste it. Ideas are, but not limited to, sharp, sticky, palm-sized, moldable, light, heavy, irradiate, translucent, wrinkly, smelly, moist, fresh, fleshy, ugly, simple, cute, complex, hairy, wild, wet, angular, flat, circular, bouncy, buoyant, iridescent, contagious, flammable, rough, prickly, shiny, lumpy, tight, protruding, cold, mild, elusive, illustrative, fixed, cracked, matte, knotted, greasy, tangled, curled, dried, tickly, tricky, gooey, cool, silent, buzzing, humming, ticking, clicking, beeping, squishing, rusty, dusty, crusty, musty, holy, holy, tattered, tattooed, twitching, itching, scratchy, fluffy, taffy, scruffy, crappy, hardware, software, chips, chipped, clipped, trimmed, stimulating, emulating, elongating, elastic, plastic, nasty, crazy, lazy, strung, flung, wrung, stiff, fluid, fancy, fertile, mushy, temporary, contemporary, curvy, boorish, brutish, limping, soft, slippery, smooth, familiar, dissimilar, evanescent, electric, furry, dirty, flirty, dizzy, halved, whole, tasty, straight, bent, foamy, purple, sour, slow, hanging, dangling, reflective, old, fine, hissing, meaty, tasteless, mute, saggy, ruthless, coarse, delicate, evasive, kind, shallow, clumsy, ambiguous, stingy, slimy, boundless, gaseous, imperfect, miniature, unkept, grotesque, endurable, thirsty, weak, round, clear, misty, sneaky, and creepy. Long after the grandchildren of the fool above drew their dying breath and launched themselves into the ether, the struck idea stuck around in the ground. The corpse of the hiker grew into a thick spread of deep, vivid green moss, the kind that takes a few centuries to grow, and so you should always think twice about stepping onto. At the tip of the idea, deep beneath the moss, a small fungus grows. Out of it, in every direction, fungal neural pathways and synapses spread throughout the soil. On the surface, three distinct concentric circles of dead or deceased moss are drawn around the idea, each larger than the one before, each corresponding to the passing of a century. 3 rings, like 3 rings, ripples of time, a bullseye. Fairies and elves dance along these rings, the hidden people whose faces and bodies we sometimes glimpse from inside the rocks and trees, the creatures that stare back at us from eerie constellations of noise, flowers, cars, clouds, and piles of other junk heaped together in no particular order, form frozen faces with distinct expressions and personalities, traces of peepholes for them to peer at people through. When they dance along the rings, some above, others below, the idea twitches and twists deeper into the ground, emanating a pulse of its own distinct hum, warmth, glow, and feeling. The more that join the dance, the stronger the continuous rising pulse throbs. The brighter the glow, the warmer the earth, the louder the hum, the stronger the feeling resonating from the idea. Now there's an illustration. I think I only have time for one more page. 6. Saturday, 19th July, 1749. I can try to explain it, to put it into words and chase the feeling, that pulse in the back of my head that maintains it understands, as if the evidence is just a few mumbles away from presenting itself in a complete, coherent sentence that makes perfect sense. I swear I can feel it there, right on the tip of my tongue, or it might just be the lasting aftertaste of something I once knew. As this unsubstantiated certainty surged through it, it stretched out its arms and legs and rose from the ground, shaking off a thick layer of moss and dirt. The idea found itself standing in a valley below a steep mountain. Tiptoeing carefully over the spread of moss down of a low plateau, it stood and studied the surrounding landscapes, a valley agape by the rising ridges encircling it, both as if covered by an impenetrable fog, indistinct shadows gaining focus only momentarily when stared directly at, as if conjured up by attention, meaning materialized at the moment of cognition. The symbols on the page are deciphered into words, into concepts and meaning, an empty space full of shadows of things which no longer exists, echoes of memories and notions lingering along empty surfaces, ghosts with the power to materialize and haunt anyone who recites them. I think this is a good place to stop. And take a glass and fill it with water. Put it on your nightstand. Cover it with a dream journal. And then in the morning when you wake up, drink it and try and write down anything you remember, and hopefully think of this action as a single one that extends from one day to the next as a one thought. Good night.